This will be our final video segment, designing our dining room ceiling in the 512 design. If you've watched our previous 4 segments, thanks for attending, and let's get started with the dining room ceiling options. To begin with, when we've designed our room, it had a flat ceiling in there, and it looks good. I think that ceilings can really accentuate the design, so we're going to explore our different options. The first component is adding in our soffit and then the crown molding. Next, we're going to look at adding a molding inset, our octagon inset. And then finally, with the elegant design, which is a dentil and beam molding. So let's go into the program and get started. On the right side of the screen, you can see my room rendering with the flat ceiling that has been created automatically for us. And then I've added some electrical cans into the design. Now, the first step that I plan to do is inside the room. If I double click on that, I'm going to go into the moldings panel here. Let's just slide this over so you can see it. And I'm going to add a new crown molding. So browse into the library and find a crown molding profile that I like. Select the profile. And by the way, this profile, we ship with many profiles. You can draw your own profile, and many millwork companies make their profiles as a DXF file. You can simply download that file and import it into the program, and then it will automatically extrude it in 3D. In fact, you can even draw your own profile, and I'm going to explain that when we get further on down into the design. Select OK. And now I will just specify the height of that as 3 inches by 2 inches. And I'll accept the rest of the defaults and select OK. And in the 3D view, let me just toggle on the technical illustration view so you can see how that looks. So now you can see our crown molding inside of the room. Now the next step is to grab our soffit tool. So I'll just grab a soffit and I'll place it and bump it against the wall. And in the 3D view, you can see that the molding, the crown molding, has already gone around the soffit, and I actually want that molding to be below the soffit. So what I'm going to do is open up the soffit here, and I'm going to uncheck this Ignore Room Moldings option. And then when I'm finished placing all of the soffits around the corner, I'm going to go back in and lower the crown molding just below our soffits. Select OK. And I'm actually going to now choose that as set as default, so as I place the remaining soffits, it will take on those attributes. So a little bit of busy work here. Let's just pull these soffits edge to edge. We'll go ahead and stretch this one over to the other side. Now notice when I've done this, our electrical has intelligently come down below that soffit. In fact, let's turn back on our render view camera. Now I'm going to take that soffit and use the Copy and Reflect tool. This is found in the lower menu of the program. And I'll flip that around to the other side. And then I will place one more soffit on each end. So we'll just bump that against the edge over here and pull that into place. And then I'll just take that soffit and again use the Copy and Reflect about the room and place that. So now you can see our soffit has come into play. And finally, let's go back into the room and lower our molding down. And for the crown molding, notice that I have a molding for the base and now a molding for the crown. So I'm going to lower that by the 8 inches, which was the depth of the soffit, and reset that molding. Now in our 3D view, you can see where that molding's come into play. So if you compare our flat, this is a ray trace image, if you compare the flat ceiling with the ceiling with soffits, it's already added a lot more character into the room. The next step is to add our inset molding, and I'm going to show you how that works using our CAD tools. CAD tools will allow you to do quite a few custom designs. If you're watching earlier when we shaped our backsplash, that was a variation of one of our CAD tools. Now I'm going to use a basic CAD tool that's just a shape. And I'm going to place a polygon here and specify that it has 8 sides for our octagon, and then specify the length at 20 inches for that octagon. And I'm just going to simply come over here and place it approximately in that area. We'll turn that layer on. And now I have a simple octagon. Now what's going to make this a molding is I can take any CAD shape, whether it's a line or a shape like this, highlight it, and in your lower menu down here there is a tool called Convert to a Polyline. So let's go ahead and select that tool. And the option that I'm going to choose when this dialog comes up is a molding polyline. That allows me to assign any molding that I want to that object. Let's select OK, and let's give it a height to 94 inches. And then for the moldings, let's go in and find our molding. And you saw how we browsed in earlier and found our crown molding. And I can't find a particular molding style that I'm interested in. So I've drawn my own, and after we finish this I'll show you how to do this. So I've drawn my own and I've saved it into the library underneath this catalog. So let's go in and find our molding profile, and there it is. When I drew this molding, I actually just elongated this side so that it'll extrude out on the bottom. Let's select that molding profile, and then we'll set the height and the width. So we'll set that to be 6 by 4. And there's an option down here, extrude inside the line or outside the line. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that inside the line because I want that to reflect inside of that octagon. Select OK. And let's go ahead and use our camera view and take a peek at what we have. So you can see our floating octagon, and it's attached to the ceiling right in the middle of the room. And now all I have to do is do an array copy of that and spread it out. So let's go back into our plan view and take a look. Let me use my tape measure and let's confirm the overall distance of this octagon. So I'm just going to drag it in here. It's tough to see, but that says 48¼ inches. Select the octagon, and I'm going to use the array copy. It's under the multiple copy tool. Let's click on that and double click on the tool for the interval. And what I want to do is come in here and set the dimension. Remember, our overall length was 48¼ inches. I want that to overlap approximately 2 inches. So I'm going to enter in 46¼ inch for that, and let's also just take that value, and there's a secondary offset that I can type in. So let's explore how that works. So I've got 2 directions that I can actually copy that in. That's the interval that I will copy it at. Select OK. Now that I'm in this mode and I hover over our selection marquee, you'll notice my icon changes. And what I'm going to do is hold down my right mouse button, click until I have the desired number, let go, just drag my mouse down, and then left click to complete it. I'm going to show you how that works again because we're going to add one more. So I've created the number of copies. You'll notice it is not centered. So I'm going to draw a marquee, in this case, around all of the objects. Let's get back into our selection mode. I'm going to draw a marquee around all of those selected objects, and then I'm just going to use the center tool in both directions based on the room, this direction, and then based on the room, this direction. And now it's exactly centered where I want. Now let's go back in and take a 3D view and see what we have. So it's starting to look pretty good. Now the thing that we're missing, let me move my mouse up here. You see where my mouse is indicating? That's the inside, it would be the outside of that octagon. And I don't have a molding there. So I want to make sure that I have a complete molding to finish this ceiling off. Let's close our 3D view and go back into the plan view. And now I'm going to draw a square that will fit that space. To fill in that space, I'm going to basically repeat the exact same process as we did earlier with the octagon. In this case, I'm going to draw a square. So I've selected my square tool, and I'm just going to come in here roughly and draw a square and rotate that. And I'm not going to be too precise about this just to get the idea around. I'm just going to slide it into approximate position here. Now let's double click on it and see what our dimensions are. Let's just go ahead and set that to be 21 inches square. And that's pretty close to where I want it. I'm using my crosshairs to make sure that's aligned. Probably want to be more precise than that if I were doing this for construction drawings. Let's go ahead and now create, let's just slide that over here and position that into place. And actually, what I'm going to do is, if I zoom in, I want this to be approximately right in that area right here. So it's snapped right on the corner of that soffit. And that will work well enough for me. And now I'm going to convert that, just like we did earlier, convert that into a molding polyline, and basically go through the exact same process we did previously. So set the molding height to 94, go in, choose our molding. Again, that was in my user catalog for this design. There's the profile. Set that to be 6 and 4. Extrude inside and select OK. So that's created our molding. And yeah, it's overlapped our soffit partially, but that's okay because it's embed in there. And now I'm going to use our multiple copy tool, use the exact same intervals that we did previously. Select OK. Right click, pull it over, left click, pull it down. Now let's go into our camera view and take a peek. So now you can see, if I move my mouse up into that area, that the molding is now completed inside of the octagons. And if I turn on my glasshouse view, you can see that the molding has extended into the soffit, but I'm okay with that because I'm only after creating my standard view, and then if we show the ray trace view, this is what it looks like. And it's not too bad given that our photo inspiration that we grabbed looks something like this. So pretty easy to do that. At the beginning of the video we mentioned that the profile for this molding was not in our library. And what I did was I modified an existing profile and made it my own custom profile. I want to show you how I did that. And what I did is I created a new CAD detail. So I came into CAD Detail Management, created a new area. Let's just give it a name. And what that does is it opens up just a blank area within your file structure that you can create your own details. And so sometimes I'll use this for my cabinet schedules or other details that I want to pull out and just work with, and then later send them out to my layout for my construction drawings, or in this case for my molding. So in the library, what I want to do is go in and find an existing crown molding. So if we come down into our moldings and find a crown molding that we like, let's just grab one here. And let's say this is the molding that we want to customize. So what I'm going to do is right click on that and place the molding profile in this CAD detail. So I'm going to come over here and click and I'm going to zoom in on that. So there is that molding profile, and now I can actually customize this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the break tool, create a break down here, and I'm just going to pull this molding out some given dimension, and then I'll just snap that into place. And that's effectively how I created that molding. Once I'm finished, what I can do is highlight it and click Add to Library. And here is that molding. Let's give it a unique name for octagon. And now when you go back into your floor plan or any other element, let's go over here into our closet and open this room up. And on the moldings, if we go in to add a new molding and I browse into my catalog, you'll see here's my my molding that we created. I'm not sure if this is going to work for this room, but let's give it a height of something like 6 and 4, and we'll set it as a crown molding. And then when we take a view inside of this room, you can see the molding was applied into that space. I guess that worked out okay. But you can see, if you zoom in here just a little bit, how the extra thickness was that we added on that profile. So if you want to draw your own molding profiles, you can draw those just using the CAD details, or I like to usually start with an existing molding profile that I like and then extend that into the desired molding that I want. The final ceiling style that we want to create is an elegant ceiling style. This is a photo that I have used as the inspiration for the ceiling. And I've also created a ray trace rendering of it so you can see it. What I've done here is created a dental molding along with a beam and then added the electrical. Let's close this and go back into the program and explore the steps involved to create this ceiling style. I've removed the inset molding from our previous ceiling, but I've left the soffit and the inset crown molding. And I'm going to do most of the work back here in my plan view. What I want to do is something very similar that we did with the octagons, using our CAD tools and then using a buildup of existing molding profiles. So I'm going to use my line tool and just simply come in here and draw a line. Select the line, and then we're going to convert that line into a molding polyline, just like we did previously. And we're going to give it the same height, and then we're going to go into our moldings and begin selecting our moldings. Now the first step in the molding is a dental molding, and that is in our bonus catalog. These are catalogs available on the 3D library at chiefarchitect.com that you can grab. So I'm going to grab a dental molding, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a height and then a width. And then I'm going to remove this option, Extrude Inside. Let's remove that option. Now, the next molding that I add will be a basic square molding found in our core catalog. And I'm just going to pull that out of our base board molding. It's just a square rectangular shape. And I'm going to set the height of this molding to 5.5, half inch shorter than the dental molding. And that means that the vertical offset needs to also be a half inch so that they're both snug up against the ceiling. Extrude Inside is not relevant. The final molding that we'll add is the exact same molding that was the first molding under the 3D moldings, the Dental 2. And I'm going to set the dimensions on that to be the 6 and the 4 inches that we previously had. Now, on the first dental molding, we remove this check mark, Extrude Inside. I'm going to leave this one on, but I'm going to set this horizontal offset to be 6 inches. And let's take a section view so you can see what this looks like using our back clip cross section. I'll just create a slice right through this molding, and you can see how that looks against our ceiling. Let me just zoom in here. So you can see our two dental moldings on either side, and then the main profile molding in the middle. And that took a little bit of time to create. And what I'm probably going to do, and actually have already done, is you can select that molding. You can block it. There's a block tool down here. Actually, there isn't a block tool. What I have to do is I have to draw a marquee around the entire area, holding the Shift key down. Now you'll see a block. To make that an architectural block, click OK. And now I can add that into my library. And you can give that a name. My stacked molding. And now I can click and place that in the design, and you can unblock it if you want to further edit it. And you can go back into your cross-section view, and then you should see two exact moldings, so you don't have to do that again. Now I have done that same process. If I go back into my floor plan, I've done that same process for the circular portion of the molding by drawing a circle, adding the molding to it, as we did with the straight line. And I also added the electrical and the medallions to it. You can see a preview of it here in the library. And if I come over here and place it in our plan, you can see it in our plan view as well. In the 3D view, if we toggle back over to the 3D view, you can see that in 3D. Now the last part is to just arrange the elements and create our final design. Back in the plan view, I'm going to grab the two moldings that we have. Let's just position these into place. And I'm just going to slide this one approximately in this area. Use the copy tool, reflect it around the center. To position that, slide it over here a little bit. Now temporarily, I'm going to draw a CAD line using the W on the keyboard in the middle of the room. Let me center that. And I'm just going to use that temporarily because I'm going to draw half of the room and then we'll reflect all of the objects around the other side. Let's grab this object, let's rotate it, and then we'll position this one into place. And again, copy, reflect around the center, and position that. Now let's grab all 5 objects by drawing a marquee around these items. And then we'll copy and reflect that around the center of our room. And go into a 3D view and take a look. The final molding we need to add is inside of the soffit in this area right here. And in the plan view, let's draw a CAD box, and we'll draw it right on the inside of the soffit. And we'll just go through the steps of converting that into a molding polyline, setting the height at 94, choosing our dental molding from the bonus library. And we're just going to use the exact same dimensions and molding profile, setting that at 6 and then 4, making sure that it's extruded inside the molding polyline. Select OK, and then back into the 3D view. And that's the final touches on the elegant ceiling. If I bring up our ray trace view of that ceiling, you can see the effects of it. If we scroll back through the different design options, here's our inset molding. Here it is with soffits, and here it is with the flat ceiling. So quite a dramatic view that you can use to create really pretty interesting ceiling styles and use it to showcase your design ideas and sell your jobs. The final set of these plans we'll make available on the website. Just to kind of give you an idea, these are our layout sheets. There should be 6 sheets in the plan set, including the kitchen, floor plan, the detail on the cabinets, the cabinet schedule, the ceiling plan options, the individual elevation and section views, our dining room ceiling options along with the ceiling plan, and finally a couple of section views and floor plan along with the ray trace rendering. You'll be able to find these on our website underneath the User Center on our Samples gallery. You can also find a free trial version of the software to download at the bottom of the page. You can simply come in here and download a free version of the trial version and try it for yourself. Thanks for attending the video series on the 512 design. I hope that it was educational. If you have any particular questions, feel free to contact us at Chief Architect. Thanks for watching.